banim shoivavim. We're in a time of doing tshuva, of coming home. And we've all gone a little bit off into different places in life. Gotten a bit lost off the main boulevard. And Hashem says, I'm going to bring you home. Now I just want to give one more analogy, something that we mentioned yesterday, because as we were writing something on the board, it said, why marry Jewish? And we just have to explain that for a second, that people have even more awareness of it. And this is not only a message for us, it's a message for the whole world. And then we'll get more into the topic today. We mentioned this a little bit also in our Derech Hashem Shir. That all the different members of humanity have different qualities, have different spiritual DNA. They have different elements. That's why the Torah is really big into diversity. People are special, people are different. And there's also clusters of groups of people that share ideas, share deep values. And if you want to build something, if you want to grow something, there needs to be some deep similarity. And the example that the holy books give is if I want to plant, what's a nice tropical tree?
Palm tree. A coconut tree.
Coconut, we'll go with coconuts. So if I want to plant a nice coconut tree that should bear nice fruits, if I go to Antarctica and I try to plant the coconut tree inside the Arctic tundra of the soil there, it's not even soil, snow, the permafrost, thank you. Will I grow much of a coconut plantation?
No.
Probably not. And what if I go a bit south? I go into the Yukon, where I was in college in northern Ontario, into the boreal forest. And I plant a coconut tree there. Will it take?
No.
And what if I go even further south? Will it maybe take for a little bit? I go somewhere, maybe, the Midwest. Maybe in the summertime, then come the wintertime, it's going to die out. And I don't get upset that the tundra or the boreal forest is somehow against coconut trees. I don't call the boreal forest racist for not connecting and having a natural connection point with the coconut tree. I say that there's an appropriate soil for that tree to flourish. There's an appropriate climate. There's an appropriate relationship between the tree and the ground and the climate. And with that appropriate blend, it will produce great fruits. And when I plant the coconut tree in Hawaii, does it flourish?
Yeah.
Oh, the coconuts. When I was living in Hawaii, my friends, we lived on coconuts. I got very good at using the machete. 2 chops right inside the green coconut. Delicious.
Wow.
Most people never had real coconuts before. So people who don't like coconuts, they think it's like this dried up, brownish on the outside with the real coconuts are tons of water, the milk on the inside, very thin like butter. Rabbi Bixen, they have nice coconuts in Florida, right? It's very nice, right? Good stuff down there. That's the spot. You got the green coconuts, right? Anybody from the south knows a little bit of real coconuts. So when you plant the coconuts in the right place, then it works. So too, there's such a thing is that different souls of different members of humanity, if that soul is in the right climate, with the right place, in the right terrain, then the two of them can bear fruits in a healthy way, in a long-term way. So that's what it means, is that people from the same place, that their souls are deeply connected and they can build something beautiful on a soul level we're talking about, a deep value level. So that's the idea of marrying within. It's a very, very important thing. Okay. Let us continue on our journey of tshuva together. We're reading some of the verses, the psukim, in the end of the Torah, which is speaking about, in the end of days, there's going to be a tshuva movement. Anybody notice it happening? Baruch Hashem, everyone's coming home. And Hashem says, though, if people aren't yet coming home, He's going to, lo aleinu, it's going to get a bit rocky along the way. So look what it says. It says, V'shav Hashem Elokecha es shvuscha v'richamecha. We said in the end of days, people are going to start coming home, and then Hashem is going to bring people home, meaning whether they did the tshuva or not, Hashem will bring everybody home. And I want you to pay attention, the word V'shav Hashem, does that word mean, and Hashem will bring everybody home? Or does it kind of sound like Hashem Himself will come home? So where did Hashem go? Why isn't He home?
It's got the veil of free choice where we could trick ourselves, so like we could like rationalize His like non-existence. So He'll remove that possibility from us, and He'll show that He's always been here.
Did you say as well previously that He's not going to be on His throne? Like
God, I'm not sure if you noticed, but He's not on His throne right now. He's not on His throne. There's no Beit HaMikdash. He's not on His throne. And that's what it means that when that Yisrael is in exile, so too God, Kaviyachal, goes into exile as well. And God once again will come back to His throne. Shav Hashem, He's also coming back to His throne, which means there's going to be an awareness. God's going to have very good PR when Mashiach comes. Somebody told me about all the television screens in Times Square, which are probably usher to look at. They're plasma, like 100 feet high. So what are they going to look like when Mashiach comes? It's going to be filled with daf yomi, filled with amazing PR. It's going to be hashtag God. That's going to be the whole thing.
Rob,
Yes?
so you're telling everyone needs to be at Israel, but okay, let's just say everyone moves to Israel. But is it considered Galut because Hashem is not home yet, technically?
So one of the signs of the end of Galut is everyone's going to come to Eretz Yisrael. Everybody's going to come to Eretz Yisrael. But you could be here, but not really be here. A lot of people are here, they're physically here, but they're spiritually somewhere else. I mean, we're in such a crazy time. A person could literally be sitting across from Kodesh HaKadashim. He's sitting right here. He's sitting in a yeshiva, in the middle of Shir. And he's just checking the scores. Just checking.
The king won.
I had to see what happened in the football. Is there any bigger galut than that? He's literally here, learning Torah. Ooh, why won't this rabbi stop talking? I have important business to look at. I just got a notification. So I could be right here, but I'm in such a deep galus. We want to fix that, because a person could have the most intimate moments of his life and still be in such a galus, still be in the deepest galus. It's crazy. I don't want to say how bad it could get, but I've seen things which just, they shock me. Like a chatan v'kala, I go into the cheder yichud, and they had to make sure to like take some selfies to post. They had to post. It couldn't just be in that moment of intimacy. And this goes on throughout a person's whole life. Like when things get too real and too intimate, so, like a boyfriend and girlfriend, they're watching a movie or something, and like she's not interested in the movie, she just wants to hang out with him, and he's like, wow, that was so funny. And I was like, it was gewaldig. Pass the chips. She's like, maybe we should, she's like, Chad.
Uh-oh.
And it's like, you need something? You want some of those nachos? Like, you want some of that? No. I ate enough. Chad, I was thinking, like, we've been going steady for a while. Like, maybe we should tie the knot. He's like, pass the 7-Up. And she's like, no, I really mean it. And he's, like, it got really real really fast. And he's just like, yeah, pump it. We're good. Yeah. We're good. Come on, like, we're good. Why can't you just be? Is there any bigger galut than that, than Chad at that moment? You're so in gullus, bro. Get out of that. Be in an intimate place. Torah is the most intimate experience of life. There's nothing more beautiful than Torah. So the more a person could just be present in the learning. So that's the answer. You could have all the Yidden here. But if we're still in galut, in our consciousness, if our mind is somewhere else, then we're still in galut. But the powerful thing is, Hashem will come back to his throne. V'shav Hashem. Hashem will come back. Rashi points this out. Hashem will come back to his throne. And you know what's going to happen? The Gemara says, everyone's going to come to Hashem. He's going to say, everybody come for your reward. And what's everybody going to do?
Come and get it.
They're going to, they're going to line up for the reward. And what do you think everybody's going to say when they see Hashem?
Well, probably be like, we should have realized you before, like we should have recognized you.
They're like waiting in line. Before that. Long live the king! Yechi HaMelech! Hashem is the king! So what do you think Hashem is going to say back?
Where was that before?
It's easy for you to say that when I'm sitting on my throne. But what about before? What about when I was on the run? What about when I was in Galut? And I didn't have such good PR like that. Where were you then? That moment, that's also called the moment of Ani Hashem, Ani Yosef Ha'oid Avichai. When Yosef HaTzadik reveals himself to the brothers, and in 1 second what happens? They realize how wrong they were about everything and all the tikkunim that happened because of that. And all the tzaddikim, the Chavetz Chaim say Hashem's going to do the same thing. Ani Hashem. Now what did Yosef say? Ani Yosef ha'od avichai. Because they were all telling, they didn't know it was Yosef. They said, the king, but how could you do this to our father? How could you take Shimon, Yehuda, Binyamin? Yosef is gone. How could you do that to our father? And Yosef says, I'm Yosef. Where were you when you sold me into exile? You really did this? You really care about our father? And Hashem's going to say the same thing. In 1 second, when Mashiach comes, he's going to Twitter out to the whole world. Ani Hashem. And everyone's going to be in shock. And everyone's going to want to come, but they're going to say, where were you before I revealed myself? Where was your loyalty? Shav Hashem. Hashem's coming back to the throne. Get ready, my friends. This is happening. Yes.
So God's plan in the beginning was to make one nation.
Yes.
Right? So why did he...
From Adam.
From Adam, right.
This is all in Derech Hashem.
Right. So he knew Adam was going to make the sin. Right? And all the, he knew the whole world was going to sin. And Noah and all that stuff. Why did But if he knew that everyone was going to come back, why did he make all men and women suffer if he knew this was going to all happen?
There's a very important yesod that we believe in with absolute emuna shlema, that free will is a real thing.
Right.
That God gives man free will. Man, woman, humanity, free will, which distinguishes us and makes us different than the dolphins and the dogs and the butterflies and the bumblebees. Contrary to what people think, that the human-animal difference can be blended and the definition's lost. Nowadays, dogs have rights. They can get inheritances. They can have lawyers support them in a court of law. I don't want to elaborate on this topic because it's a big one. And it gets a lot of people heated up. But that's where we're at. And we need to know that the human being is different. The human being has free will. Animals run by instinct. They're programmed. They might have nice instincts. Dogs can be very friendly. But they're running on instinct. Humans run on free will. Free will means I can choose between my neshama or my instincts. My instincts are my yetzer hara. For the human, the instincts are very complex. They don't only include emotional drives, but they include psychological, instinctual drives. And essentially they're pulling me into short-term pleasure. The neshama is all about long-term happiness. How do I find that? Torah, the mitzvot. So Adam had that choice. Now Adam did something very interesting, which Adam, initially his instincts were pure. He was made out of very, very pure instinctual material. His brain was able to be fooled by the snake. The snake made good points. If you eat from this, then you'll be like Hashem. You'll know a lot of stuff. And not only that, you'll get to do tshuva. Because before that, you won't be able to fall and then do tshuva and come back. And therefore, you'll never really activate your free will in a very, very powerful way. Because it's going to be easy for you. But if you do this, the snake said it's going to be good. So Adam listened to the snake. He wasn't supposed to. But in the end, he ended up making much more, even though it spun the world into darkness, which is a horrible thing, and we reject that darkness. But in the end of the story, through tshuva, you can get higher than you would have gotten had Adam not eaten.
Okay, so Yaakov's fault was that he loved Yosef more out of all his sons. He made like the special clothes. That was the biggest mistake. The brothers all got jealous out of it. Because Yaakov wasn't treating the same thing as Reuven, Shimon, all the brothers. So like
the brothers at that level, they made some type of mistake. For us to understand, it's a very, very high level thing. But there was some tikkun that they made, that even though that Yosef was right, the dreamer was right in the end, they felt that his approach, the way he was going to take the Jewish people, would be too high, would be too exalted of a level for people to reach that standard. And that's why when Yosef said, when the brothers said about that Yosef said about the brothers, that they're eating Ever Menachai, and they're having relations with Arayot, with non-permitted women. These are the Shiftei Ka. They would never do such a thing. How could Yosef even make such a claim? What, they were eating limbs off live animals? So of course not. We know they made with Sefer Yetzirah. They were building through Kabbalah animals, and there's no Isur to eat a live limb off an animal that you make with Sefer Yetzirah. Don't worry, in Eshet Torah we do not teach people how to use Sefer Yetzirah or make live animals and then eat the limb off the live animal with Sefer Yetzirah. I mean, this is what they want to make, is all this factory meat nowadays. If they had Sefer Yetzirah, I don't think they're trying to use Sefer Yetzirah, but if they had it, they could make it. We're more into the real thing, not which needs shchita, the real thing. So Yosef said, according to his level, he felt that it wasn't proper. So they said, but it's not asur. So Yosef was taking them in a very high world, a very high level, and Yaakov said that really I wanted to go with Yosef. I wanted to go with Yosef, but in the end, Yosef will be the first part of the journey. That's called Mashiach ben Yosef. But in the end, it's going to be Mashiach ben David, which is that the Bali Tshuva, those that fall and then get up.
But at the same time, as a father, you have to love all your sons. Am I right?
It meant that he gave over to Yosef that every one of your sons, Bezrat Hashem, you're going to have many, many kids. Right. All of your children, they have different personalities. Right. There's such a thing as that one, let's say there's a father and he's a king and he has 10 sons. So who's going to be the next king? All of them? No, you're racist. No, you're not. One will be more appropriate. Maybe it's the Bachor, but not always. Maybe it's the Bachor. Yehuda was the one to be the king. He stepped it up. There's such a thing as that there's the one that has the most either undiluted Misora from the father, that he can then transmit the message forwards, or the one that the father sees that this is the right hemsheichiyus, this is the appropriate next step, an extension of the father, of me. Yeah.
Rob, I wanted to ask, when Hashem reveals himself, and if I'm not in this country, will it be a problem?
El Al flights will be expensive then. But don't worry, you have a lot of money, so it won't be a problem. What's that? They're already expensive, and they're going up. The gas is expensive, there's shortages of all sorts of stuff. Yeah, for many people, it's a good idea to stay. But don't worry, it says that all the Jews are going to come back on the wings of eagles, all of humanity is going to come back. We're going to read this Rashi tomorrow. Actually, we'll read it still today. That Hashem's going to bring everybody home. It says in the Pasuk, I brought the Pasuk from Yirmiyahu, that the Navi says, what's going to happen in the end of days? So first Rashi says, Va'atem teluktu la'achad echad b'nei Yisrael. Hashem's going to bring back all of the Yidden. Va'af begali shar ha'umois matzinu kein. We also find that Hashem is going to bring back in Shuvah all of humanity, all the nations of the world. V'shavti shvus moyav. V'shavti shvus moyav ba'achris hayomim. And there's other psukim with other nations. Hashem is going to bring back humanity. It's very important to know that. Humanity is going to come close to God. All of humanity. On the wings of eagles, which is an amazing prophecy when you think about it. Come on, look at an airplane. It's wings of eagles. Then imagine knowing this 1,000 years ago, that God said on the wings of eagles. And you're thinking to yourself, you're living somewhere in medieval Europe. The wings of eagles? What kind of eagles are going to carry human beings? The wings of eagles? And just look at planes.
We're not on the wings of planes. Even though
Look
we
at
have
it.
wings.
The Torah is allegorical. The Torah speaks in mashal. Yeah.
It just said eagles.
The wings?
Like, it could have...
You say we're not in the wings, we're in like the torso of the eagle.
Yeah.
On the backs of eagles.
Why did he have to say wings of eagles then? He could have just said eagles.
Oh, because
Yeah,
there's a thing like the chicks of eagles are actually not in their claws, but on their back where it's safer.
That's right. From the arrows. Yeah, Yankid.
Also, they're saying that the whole, whoever, all the tzaddikim will go up, all the Jewish people, whoever died. I'm saying that.
So it says one of the reasons why Yaakov Avinu, he didn't want to be buried. There is such a thing. I'm just telling you something the Chazal say. There's such a thing that. Okay, no, that these things are so lofty, and it's all good. It's all good. But there's such a thing that it says that a person shouldn't be buried outside of Israel. Okay, there's many reasons why they should, if need be. But there's such a thing, why not? Is because when Tchias HaMesim happens, when the resurrection, that those that are here will come out of the ground. These are all very lofty things. But Chazal described that there's going to be some experience of those that are outside of Israel. They're going to have to come through these underground tunnels. And there's going to be some tikkun that's going to happen through that. What this all means, we're going to know all the details when it happens. Just like so many of the things in Yemei Mashiach, we're going to see it before our very eyes, all the details, but the general picture, and many of the details we do know. Yeah, Yankib.
I know that during COVID, El Al was about to go bankrupt, and then there was a guy that donated billions of dollars to keep them enough to have flights and stuff. And he was either his last name or the company that he was running was Eagles, Eagle. Just
okay. So on the wings of eagles, that through the bank account of Eagle, that's crazy. Baruch Hashem, he kept people flying to Eretz Yisrael. Hashem talks to us in many different ways. Yes, my friend.
You said about being resurrected. Is that why Jews aren't allowed to be organ donors? So that when you are resurrected, you have everything that is... Or is it because your body is not truly yours, it's God's, and you're not allowed to take what's not yours?
There is such a thing that even people that Hashem lo aleinu, if they went through certain things like that, or God forbid cremation or things like that God still has a way of bringing people back.
But there's a thing that when you put on tefillin, the reason why we put it in the back, there's a
the luz,
special bone that never does sin.
So exactly, because we have that bone that we could rest assured. So even family members, and we have to daven for everybody. We only want rachamim for every single person and all of humanity. There's such a thing as that. Yes, there's a bone, so to speak, that can never be destroyed. This is spiritually speaking. That even if a person, God forbid, was burned up,
still there.
So the bone is there, the spiritual bone is there. And remember, everybody knows, how do you strengthen that bone for all eternity? Malava Malka, my friends. Malava Malka. To eat the special meal after Shabbat, we'll have a whole shir on Malava Malka. And you have to eat Malava Malka, David HaMelech, Malava Malka. We should be Zoycha Mamish, David Malka, Mashiach, because he came to the Amen.
Man, that's exactly what
Counsel.